Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are tackling something huge, like literally one of the most pressing challenges of our entire generation. We're facing these extreme, super unpredictable climates, right? And at the exact same time, we've got this rapidly growing global population that desperately needs a secure food supply. And this isn't just some abstract economics lesson. This is literally about what ends up on your dinner plate, what's stocked in your local grocery store, and exactly how much it's going to cost you. It's this massive dual challenge, and solving it is going to require absolute out-of-the-box ingenuity. So it really begs the question, when extreme weather hits, do we look to nature's smallest miracles, or do we build the biggest machines on Earth? Because right now, let's be honest, our traditional crops are seriously struggling against the elements. Take a standard garden vegetable, like your average tomato. Nobody really tells you this, but once the temperature creeps above 95 degrees Fahrenheit, tomatoes literally just shut down. Their cells start to fail, they stop producing altogether, and they die. And with extreme heat waves basically becoming the new normal, we absolutely have to look for alternatives. Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to examine two wildly different approaches to solving this survival problem. On one side, we've got nature's micro-survivors. Think of a single, incredibly deep-rooted Chinese jujube tree that spent thousands of years evolving to just thrive in completely barren dry basins. And then, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, we have human-engineered macro-empires. We're talking places like a 22.5 million acre megafarm in China that runs with literal assembly line precision. Section 1. Nature's micro-survivors, biological superpowers. So the real secret to surviving these crazy extremes? It lies in perennials. You see, most of the vegetables we grow are annuals. That means they start from a tiny, fragile seed every single season, totally exposed to the elements. When a drought hits, annuals just die. It's that simple. But perennials, they spend years building these massive, deep underground root systems. We're talking roots going 25 feet into the earth to tap groundwater that an annual could never even dream of reaching. But, and this is a really crucial rule to remember, drought tolerant does absolutely not mean drought proof on day one. A huge mistake growers make is basically starving these plants early on. They still need a really deep watering every 7 to 14 days for their first 2 years to establish those roots. But once they do, you can practically walk away. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this single, staggering number, 149 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember how we said most crops just die at 95 degrees? Well, scientists have actually recorded the prickly pear cactus maintaining active photosynthesis, literally still growing, in soil temperatures of 149 degrees. I mean, it's almost hard to believe. So how on earth does it pull this off? Well, it uses this brilliant biological trip called CAM photosynthesis. Normally, plants breathe during the day, right? They open their pores to absorb CO2, which naturally means they lose water in the process. Out in a scorching desert, that's a literal death sentence. But the prickly pear? It tightly closes its pores during the blazing heat of the day. It just waits. Then, in the cool of the night, it opens them up to absorb CO2. By morning, it has all the carbon it needs with absolutely zero water wasted. And then its massive, shallow root system sweeps in to catch every single drop of morning dew. It is genius. And the crazy thing is, these plants don't just scrape by and survive. They produce massive amounts of food. The visual contrast here is just stunning. A really solid traditional corn crop gives you about 10 to 12 tons per hectare. But compare that to the native North American Jerusalem artichoke. It yields an absolutely staggering 92 tons per hectare. And get this, under water stress, this plant actually increases its root surface area to hunt down more water, safely growing these massive tubers deep underground, totally protected from the surface heat. When we pull all these drought-proof miracles together, this amazing pattern of biological superpowers emerges. You've got these deep drinkers like the Chinese jujube pulling moisture from 25 feet down. You've got the pomegranate just laughing at harsh alkaline soils. Some even adapt their physical forms. The prickly pear's water-dense pads act as actual fire barriers. And the fig, it purposely drops its leaves, deploying a kind of biological antifreeze to protect its core so it can spring back and give you 2 crops a year. Plus, they're incredibly productive. The mulberry yields endless berries and leaves that are 34% protein for livestock. The pigeon pea survives 100-degree heat while pulling pure nitrogen right out of the air into the soil. It's like a giant puzzle of pure biological genius. Section 2. The macro farm empires, conquering by scale.
Let's move to and see how this builds, and get ready to zoom way, way out. 22.5 million. That is the number of acres making up the Madaningjiang City mega farm in China. Just to truly wrap your head around that scale, you could literally take the entire nation of Ireland, drop it inside the boundaries of this single farm, and you would still have room left over.
Mudanjiang was actually created by merging dozens of individual state-run farms to help reduce China's dependence on foreign dairy. It essentially functions as its own self-contained agricultural city. I mean, we're talking about a farm that supports 100,000 dairy cows using GPS-tracked logistics routes, custom milking parlors, totally automated feeding, and digital real-time health monitoring. Now, to be totally fair, this massive scale doesn't happen without some real concerns. Critics rightly point out the heavy strain this puts on local water supplies and the broader environmental toll of industrial operations this huge. But purely from a structural standpoint, the engineering is undeniably immense. And these macro farms are conquering the most extreme environments on Earth just through sheer force of will. Take Rosagro in Russia, dominating 2.5 million acres in sub-zero Siberian cold. They've heavily invested in these tough, cold-resistant crop strains and vertically integrated their whole process from the field straight to retail. Then flip over to the UAE, where Al Dara is transforming 400,000 acres of barren, 110-degree desert into a green patchwork. How? By using massive underground pipelines feeding desalinated water straight into climate-controlled greenhouses. It's wild! And this brilliantly illustrates what truly powers these macro empires: cutting-edge technology. Farms like Australia's 6 million-acre Anna Creek Station or Singapore's Olam International operate with an almost military level of coordination. In Australia, because rainfall is just so incredibly sparse, stockmen use helicopters and drones just to spot their herds and check water lines stretching across the outback. We're talking AI-guided tractors, mobile herd monitoring with GPS collars, hyper-precision drip irrigation, and even blockchain technology. Alam can literally track a single cocoa bean from a village in West Africa straight to a chocolate bar sitting in New York. When you really look at this global cheat sheet of mega farms, it hits you. These operations function way less like traditional agriculture and way more like multinational food engines. You've got Beta Huang using fully autonomous tractors across 5.3 million acres in China. You've got El Tejar down in South America leasing 2 million acres through a totally digital asset-light model. Even the massive family-owned spaces, like the 500,000-acre Ivy Ranch in Texas, have had to merge old-school horsemanship with satellite tracking and modern conservation efforts just to keep up. This sheer scale is literally shifting our entire global framework. Section 3. The future of farming. Impact over acreage. So the crucial point moving forward is this: size isn't always measured in acres. It's measured in impact. And this concept is just beautifully demonstrated by the Howard G. Buffett Foundation's research farm in Illinois. Compared to the millions of acres we were just looking at, this farm is actually tiny. It spans just 1,500 acres. But its impact? It's completely global. This farm is rigorously testing drought-resilient crops, zero-till farming, and totally sustainable soil strategies using real-time climate data. And the ultimate goal is to perfect these highly efficient, incredibly resilient systems and export them to the most climate-stressed, depleted regions on Earth. It proves you really don't need the size of a country to feed the world, as long as your science is right. Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. As extreme weather keeps accelerating, will the ultimate survival of our food supply lie in the microscopic, deep-rooted biological genius of a single plant? Will it depend on the sheer, unyielding scale and AI-driven precision of the human-engineered mega-farm? Or will the true key to feeding the future be some brilliant, seamless combination of both? It is a massive, incredibly complex challenge, but man, the solutions we are uncovering right now are just truly extraordinary. Thank you so much for exploring this with me on The Explainer today.